Hello everyone, Jumping J of Doom here. A little while ago I posted on Twitter and the official Jelle's Marble Runs Discord and subreddit that I wanted your guys' most unpopular opinions about JMR. And today I'm gonna go through them and react to them, give my opinions. I'm really sorry if your unpopular opinion didn't make it into the video. I got a lot more than I expected, so we can't do all of them. So let's start out by going to Discord. The first one is from this person. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce that name. I'm not even going to attempt to. I don't know what kind of characters those are. But they said, "Hey Jay, nice rhyme. I'm here to drop my unpopular opinion. The expansion to 32 teams in the ML was a poor choice." Now, they say this for two reasons. One, a B-League should honestly be smaller than the A-League. And two, more teams means that there is more room for them to be ridiculed by poor performances in a tournament plus retirement calls. This opinion's pretty interesting to me, but I don't know that I agree with it. I mean, I'm going to start out with your first point. A B-League should be smaller than the A-League. I really disagree with that. In fact, in my opinion, I think it makes more sense for the B-League to be bigger than the A-League, because it makes being in the A-League a bigger honor. It makes it feel like this is the good teams. Like, the good teams make it to the A-League, and then the not as good teams end up in the B-League. And I like that a lot. I think, honestly, in real life, right, B-Leagues oftentimes probably are bigger than the A-Leagues. Don't take my word on that, because I know nothing about actual sports, but that's at least my guess. That's the way it makes more sense to me. Because obviously the not as good teams end up in the B-League, which would make sense that there's less really good teams than bad teams, so there's going to be more teams in the B-League than the A-League. So I disagree with that point altogether. I think, honestly, B-Leagues should be bigger than A-Leagues. More teams means that there is more room for them to be ridiculed by poor performances. Honestly, I disagree with that one as well. Yes, it's true that teams like the Snowballs and the Pinkies and the Limers do get a lot of ridiculing and people making fun of them for not being very good. I've partaken in that a little bit recently with the Limers, just a tiny bit. And yeah, I mean, that point, it makes some sense. The thing I have against that point is, I mean, I feel like every team gets some amount of shame for not doing well enough. I mean, it's like, when you're playing in such steep competition, I'm pretty sure there's not a single bad team. Like, there's not even one actively, like, actually bad at marble sports. I think they're all really good at it. They're just in a really tough competition. Even the Solar Flares, they're probably pretty good at it. Like, we didn't see what they did before the Marble League, but I'm sure they did pretty well. They're just in a really tough league now. And in stuff like that, there's always going to be better and worse teams. But with the two leagues, teams like the Snowballs can prove they're not bad at marble sports. They're just not as good as maybe the O-Rangers or the Raspberry Racers or stuff like that at specifically the Marble League. Having this B-League can prove that these teams aren't bad. They're just in a different league than the other teams. You know, that's the whole point of a B-League, and if they do well enough, sometimes they can make it into the A-League, maybe get that shot to really make a name for themselves. So I think that the adding of new teams to make 32 is just a net positive. I think more teams is a good thing. And plus, with 32 teams, they can now do an entire bracket tournament. And I really want that. I just want a big bracket. Every single team competes. I don't know what events they do, but I really want one because I just love brackets. But anyway, though, I like your take. I just don't agree with it. Next one is from PeskyBird666. Mo Motorway was the worst track ever made. Of course, that's a very baseline opinion, so I inquired a little further to see if they had a reason for that, and nope. Honestly, I like this though. I don't think you need to have a reason to not like something. I don't think there needs to be some big reason to not like something. Your reason can just be, I don't like it. You know, it doesn't have to be some big nuanced thing. I will say I don't agree with the point. I think Mo Motorway is a good track, but these are supposed to be unpopular opinions, so I probably will disagree with quite a few of them. I mean, I will be honest, I think the only reason Mo Motorway has come back is just because Team Momo is a really popular team and not because the track itself is one of the best ones. Because I don't think it's one of the best ones either, but I don't think it's bad. But I think my least favorite tracks are probably Pallet Park and Sleet Street, for literally the exact opposite reasons. Pallet Park is just a little too simple. It just feels a little more boring to me. Whereas you've got Slate Street, and that one was just too chaotic. Either way, though, I don't think there's really, like, a bad course at all. Like, even those two courses aren't bad. I don't actively just really dislike them. They were still very enjoyable to watch and everything. Those are my two least favorite ones. Moving over to Twitter, we've got the unofficial account for the Blue Fastix cheerleader, Jays Unite. And they say the Indigo Stars are gonna win a title within the next 2 years, and the Cobalts are unfortunately forever a showdown team. Which, that first point, I will not say you're wrong, okay? And I would love to see that happen. I think an Indigo Stars victory in the next 2 years, that would be very entertaining, and I would love to see it, but it seems a little unlikely. But I'm not gonna count that out. I like that idea. And obviously Virgo, the unofficial account for the Indigo Stars cheerleader, chimed in saying, I completely agree with your first take, which makes sense. And then as for your second point about the Cobalts, I also agree with that. I think they probably will be in the showdown forever. However, I'm not going to, say that that's just the case. It could happen, maybe. I wouldn't be too shocked to see them make it into the 2022 Marble League, but they feel like they're not going to. Then we have the unofficially official account for Raldo, and Raldo says every team is great, no exceptions. Now, I don't actually know how unpopular of an opinion this is. I agree, to be honest. Like I said, all the teams are good at marble sports. None of them are bad. They're just in a big league. One team has to come last, so it's not like just because this is the team that came last that they're the bad team, because one team had to. So if you get the best teams in the world all together, one of them still has to lose, guys. That's just how it works. And also, people kind of treat it like if you didn't get top 3, you performed poorly. No, like Crazy Cat's Eyes, for example, they've recently proven themselves to genuinely be good at the Marble League. 2 years in a row, 5th place. 5th place is a good position. That's really good. Crazy Cat's Eyes are proving that they are more than just a Marbula 1 team. They can do the Marble League too. And they were hosting one of those years. So, yeah, Crazy Cat's Eyes, good team. I might be a little biased. That is my favorite team, but still. But yeah, I have a favorite team, but I don't really, dislike any of the teams. Fire Marble says the Pinkies are underrated. They were nothing short of elite in 2017. Had very strong showings in the 2020 and 2021 showdowns, and if it weren't for the 2016 point system screwing them over, they would have finished middle of the pack in 2016. You know what? I can get behind that. I love the Pinkies. Any reason, if you're telling me the Pinkies are good, I can get behind that. I will say Fire Marble likes to defend the Pinkies a lot, and I think he might just be a little bit biased, but I can see where he's coming from here. The Pinkies aren't trash like people like to say they are. I mean, so far in Marble the 1, they haven't had very good performances, but you saw in Marble Maniacs, they didn't actually do that bad. I mean, they won an event and stuff like that. They're not a bad team. They're just not one of the better teams. And finally, we have Roydal says, Hazers are one of the most underrated teams. In all 4 reviews, in none they were below top 10. I'm gonna guess you mean all 4 years so far that they've competed in the Marble League, they were above top 10. That's true. I think, this is off the top of my head, I think in 2018 they came 6th, 2019 3rd, 2020 6th, and 2021 4th? I might be wrong though, but that's my best guess. I agree, those are all really good performances. The Hazers are a good team. I don't think they're one of the most underrated teams, though. I think that's just wrong. I don't think they're underrated. I think people know they're good. People do also really like to call them the biggest chokers, which I think is just so annoying for the same reasons I said before. The Hazers are really good. They haven't clinched a title yet, and just because they keep doing really well and then not quite winning, it's not like they are really good, and discounting them because they keep choking is very annoying in my opinion. But yeah, I agree. I don't think that they're underrated, but they are a really good team. And now over to Reddit. Monkey Orange 25 says, Turtle Sliders are given special treatment just because they're popular. It hurts as a fan of the Hornets to see them be removed without losing the qualifiers, whilst the Turtle Sliders can consistently be terrible and get a free pass. So first of all, you're a Hornets fan. I mean, I guess I can kind of respect that. But the Hornets, either way though, you're right, the Turtle Sliders do just get a pass, but I'm not actually against it. I don't want them to retire. I don't think many teams should retire. I don't even necessarily think it was great that the Hornets or the Jawbreakers retired. I don't really like it when teams retire at all. I don't want Turtle Sliders to go that direction, but I do agree they did kind of, they got in the same way the Hornets did, but the Hornets didn't do worse than the Turtle Sliders. They did better than the Turtle Sliders, but they also didn't do well, but the Hornets get taken out and the Turtle Sliders stay in. It is weird. you're completely right. But I honestly think teams being popular is a reason to keep them. The other thing about Hornets and Jawbreakers is they didn't have that many fans. Turtle Sliders, even after having done nothing, people still love them because they're this meme and their reserve is named Frank and stuff like that, and it just makes you love this team. I love this team. I even said so in my tier list video. And I honestly do genuinely believe that popularity is a reason and should be part of deciding factors on whether or not to invite teams to things or to make them retire or stuff like that. I think the really popular teams, just for the sake of being popular, that one fact alone means something. Casual Boy, spelled with a 1, says, the Green Ducks fandom, despite being in the top 5 largest fandoms probably, way overhypes the Ducks. The team had good performances in 2019 and M1 Season 2, but I don't believe they'll ever reach the top 5 current best teams ever. Maybe not even top 10. Both ML20 and ML21 were proof of the fact that back-to-back 12th place finishes. The former was a nothing year where literally 0 times the team was relevant or in contention. And ML21, while being highly inconsistent for any team bar the Razzies, still showed us that even with 3 silver medals basically in a row, the team didn't know how to build on the performances and keep getting high points hauls. Okay, I think there's actually a factual problem in your post, but it's not like a big one. I think in Marble League 2021, Green Ducks actually came 11th because Savage Speeders came 12th and O'Rangers came 10th and Green Ducks came 11th. Yeah, there's that, but otherwise, I don't disagree with you. I don't think the Green Ducks are an amazing team either. They're not one of the worst ones either, though. I think that they're very middle ground. But I agree, the Green Ducks aren't anything to be like, oh my gosh, this is one of the best Marble League teams. And then they also said that they think the O'Rangers, more so than the Speeders, might see a team or two challenge their second place in the rankings as best team in the league in the next year or two. I'm talking about the Razzies or Mellow Yellow, who generally seem more fit to take on that role right now than the O'Rangers currently. I don't think Mellow Yellow are going to do anything. They'll do good some years, they'll do bad some years. I don't think they're in contention to take the O'Rangers' second place spot. Raspberry Racers, however, and Hazers are both. I think if Hazers can win a Marble League, they are second best. And Raspberry Racers are also such a good team. I genuinely think both of those two teams have a really strong cases already to be better than the O'Rangers in the Marble League. I love the O'Rangers, and they are still one of the best teams in the Marble League, but I wouldn't call them the best. And Snoo35918, replying to this, said, I'm going to take these even further. The Green Ducks wouldn't have been good enough to qualify for ML22 if they weren't the hosts, and the Raspberry Racers are already the second best team in the league. Okay, again, I think there's definitely cases to say that the Raspberry Racers or the Hazers are already the second best. I will say, I don't know if the Green Ducks would have made it into ML22 if they weren't the hosts, but what I will say is, if you're saying they didn't deserve to be hosts, I disagree 100%. Hosting picks simply shouldn't be based on how good a team is. Like, the Snowballs didn't even qualify for ML17 when they were picked to host ML18. Yes, Oceanics did perform very well before they were picked to host, but I feel like they were picked to host in spite of that, and not because of that. Team Galactic, again, not a great team either in ML 2019 when they were picked to host. And Crazy Cat's Eyes did just prove themselves as better with Marby the One and everything like that, but I feel like the host picks is more a popularity contest than it is a good at Marble League contest, and that's fine. That's the way it should be. Picking teams to host based on how good they are isn't the way to go. I think you need to do teams that can have the best creative uses in the event. And like I said before, I really want to see the Pinkies host soon, and they're not a good team, but I want the Pinkies to host. Human86 says, my favorite Marble League teams are the pupil teams. Yes, I literally prefer them over any team that actually competes in the Marble League. Are you saying this because you hate every other team? Like, how do you like the Marble League if you don't like any of the teams that's in it? But I respect just how out there this opinion is. Ordinary Passerby says, removing the D&Q system in M1 Season 3 qualifiers is not good. No matter how many teams there are in a season, the only thing that the main camera focuses on in each race is the battle for the podium spots, which rarely involves 10 or more marbles throughout the course of a race. By removing the D&Q system, you get 4 more marbles battle for positions off screen and never get mentioned, which practically adds nothing exciting to the race. It may even make things worse as the marbles are more spread out throughout the track and could result in more blue flags. Okay, so I've disagreed with some opinions so far this video, but I don't think I've disagreed with one as much as I disagree with this one. First of all, I don't think 4 more marbles racing on the track is making that much of a difference. You're already not going to get to see those 4 teams compete if you don't get included, or if they do, but at least give them the shot, you know? I think the DNQs don't work very well because when a team just didn't qualify, a lot of people don't care about that race anymore. If the O'Rangers don't qualify for a race, all the really big O'Rangers fans have no reason to watch the race anymore. They already know their team isn't going to do well. Whereas if the O'Rangers start in the back, at least there's that chance. As for the blue flags, maybe, but so far we've only had the really bad blue flags in one race on Sleet Street, and that almost certainly would have happened anyway. Both because Sleet Street is just that chaotic and Smoggy was insane out there. So I absolutely disagree with this point. Mia1234445 says the Raspberry Racers aren't as bad of an M1 team as everyone makes them out to be. Don't get me wrong, they're still terrible, and I'm not denying that for a second, but people act like they're on par with the Jungle Jumpers when it comes to M1. They had a couple moments of greatness in Season 2, their 2 podiums, Razzy's 6th place at Misty Mountain, Razzie getting top half in the racer standings, and Rezzy was decent in Season 1, but got replaced for some reason. Again, not saying they're not awful because they are, but their badness in M1 gets overblown. I agree, the racers aren't good at M1, but they're not as bad as the Jungle Jumpers. Tiger5804 says, the Snowballs are going to be perpetually ignored until they make a roster change, at which point everyone will suddenly circle back to the debate about whether that's a good idea or not. I feel like if the coach was changed, most people would be happy, but a roster swap would spark a lot more interest. That's interesting. You're not wrong. I don't think the Snowballs are ignored, though. Like, I personally think they should have been invited back to Marby the One Season 3 over Team Primary, simply because I think Snowy deserved it more than Prim did, and that's the actual only battle. It's just between Snowy and Prim, and I think Snowy deserved it more. But I agree, some change like that would be a good idea. However, I think while that would give them more attention, I think it would be a better idea for them to just get a new coach first before actually switching their members. Optimistic Alone says, Balls of Chaos are really boring to watch outside of Marby the One. A lot of stuff that gets painted as them being chaotic is just them being bad, and I think the shtick is old. I say M1 is an exception of this because 1, they're actually kind of decent at it overall, 2, Misty Mountain, 3, their primary rivalry seems to actually sort of matter. If you want a genuinely bad team, there are others that are more fun to watch outside of M1. I'm thinking of the Pinkies, obviously, but Turtle Sliders fans can probably upvote me on this as well. Okay, I agree with some points. Balls of Chaos aren't that good, and their badness isn't necessarily just them being chaotic. I will say I like to think that Clutter gutterballing at the Marble Maniacs bowling was absolutely just purposeful because Clutter knew that they had to make the pun. They had to make the pun of Clutterball happen. But I don't think they're not fun to watch. I think Balls of Chaos have maybe one of the top 3 most fun fan bases. Although, to be honest, that might just be because of Havoc and Snarl on Twitter. Those two are so funny. But, like, still, I feel like they're probably more fun to watch than a lot of other teams. I would find them more fun to watch than the Snowballs or Gliding Glaciers even. Even though Gliding Glaciers are good so far, they're a little more boring to me for whatever reason. But I'm not going to say you're wrong either. Dino Kia says, SMR needs more attention so it can become a great top-level series again, as JMR keep tossing it to the side and making it more and more an irrelevant series. This is made worse by the fact that Red Number 3 was the obvious number 1 racer in JMR, and as such the only one consistently mentioned and worth watching. A combination of some way to hype up mid-table runners like Pollo Loco, El Capitan, Black Knight, and Summer Sky alongside a bit more care, and the series could be really good. Okay, so Sand Marble Rally has become very controversial as of recently. Some people are saying it just lost its charm. Some people think that it's just not as good because all the competitors only compete in the one thing. People like to criticize Red Number 3 becoming an actual marble, stuff like that. I agree that more attention could work. I like Sand Marble Rally personally, but I've been here for a while. New fans have no reason to care about this series because they just haven't been doing it very much. I'm still very excited for Season 7, is that what it is? Season 7? Season 6? Season 7? whatever, but we'll see what happens. Lithium Nard says, if Crazy Cat's Eyes end up running away with the championship again, JMR should consider just not inviting them next season. Maybe give them an in-universe reason of wanting to focus on the Marble League or something. Okay, I agree with this to a certain point, because it's not gonna be fun. Even though I love Crazy Cat's Eyes, even for me, it won't be fun if the Crazy Cat's Eyes run away with the victory every single year. However, I feel like not inviting them would be a crime. I guess giving them an in-the-universe reason would make sense. The thing is, if Crazy Cat's Eyes don't have a course this season, which I don't think they do, and they win again, it's an absolute crime to not give them a course next season. Maybe what you need to do is replace Red Eye and Yellow Eye with Blue Eye and Green Eye. Either way, though, I think Crazy Cat's Eyes winning over and over again isn't good. I don't know what a good solution to that is, though. I think just not inviting them feels wrong, though, so I just don't know how to fix that. Killjoy Club says, the downfall of marble sports happened when without any prior warning the Hornets got retired. The only truly lovable team. Since then, no interesting theme came up worth to be admired. While you're obviously a Hornets fan, this take is really funny to me for some reason, probably because it's just so out there. I don't agree. I simply don't agree, but I wasn't a big Hornets fan ever anyway. There aren't many people I feel like who were Hornets fans though. I think you're one of few. But anyway though, if you don't like marble sports anymore, that's just fine. I really like marble sports still, but if it's really just uninteresting somehow without the Hornets there to come last place, then that's just fine. Marbles Today says the speeders should retire. Leave it on a high before it all goes downhill. I disagree. Everybody thinks the Savage Speeders are going to do bad now. There is nothing saying that the Savage Speeders are going to do poorly. I mean, yes, they came 12th place in Marble League 2021. First time ever they've done bad. And this season of Marby the One so far, they haven't done great, but we're only a quarter of the way through. And they haven't even done bad either. No, I'm sorry. Savage Speeders aren't bad yet. You can't call them bad yet. And I don't think they're going to become bad necessarily. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Savage Speeders really are just going downhill. Tix1 says, Quicksilvers should come back. Quicksilvers have participated in an ML, so Quicksilvers greater than Blackjacks, who were greater than Solar Flares by popularity. Therefore, Solar Flares retire, Quicksilvers come back, or Blackjacks come out of minor comps like MMX. No. Just simply no. Solar Flares have competed one time. Give them a chance! Exciting Presentation says, there's no such thing as good teams and bad teams. They're just better suited for some events than others. Marbles that are bad at sprinting are good at coming to a stop during collision events. Marbles that easily fall off a balance beam have stronger curls in curling. Marbles that are most affected by hurdles are more likely to stay in a half pipe longer. The common thing here is arresting momentum. JMR rarely features events like this, it's mostly just racing and speed. I think the Marble League should include more events like these, where arresting momentum or stopping on a point grid is key. That way it demands a more balanced skill set. Besides, I've been wanting to see curling come back for a while now. 100% agree. Completely. 100%. Everything you just said is right. I want to see curling come back as well. I also want to see some other events like that. Hots Figure 3018 says, random track elements are a good thing, almost exclusively because it keeps the race interesting. I agree with that to a certain extent. But again, I don't like the ice twist on Sleet Street. Other than that one example though, I agree with you. They also say M1 was better with fewer marbles racing almost exclusively because it's almost impossible for the camera to follow so many marbles clearly. They weren't following all the marbles clearly anyway. 4 more marbles didn't affect that. Okay guys, thank you so much for sending in your most unpopular opinions about Jelle's marble runs. I greatly appreciate that. Again, sorry if yours didn't make it into the video, but I just got way more than I thought I would. Now that I've gone over a lot of your unpopular opinions, maybe I should name a super unpopular opinion that I have. Hey, it's Future Jumping Jam Doom here, and the unpopular opinion I ended up giving in that video was really boring and I didn't like it, so I come up with a new one. I really liked Marble Maniacs. There, I said it. I was actually shocked when I learned that this was an unpopular opinion. Yes, there were obviously some problems with it. I mean, like the events kept getting delayed and there was major problems in the final event for the first while, but they fixed those problems. And eventually it all came out. I was willing to wait a little bit. I mean, it was a little annoying, yes, but I understand now that I do creation myself that sometimes things just take longer than you were hoping or expected it to. But I really liked all 5 of the events that Marble Maniacs brought to the table. And I really like the teams. A lot of people were saying it's hard to like this series when you don't have any of your favorite teams competing, but I wasn't bothered by that. And I also saw quite a few people saying that the halftime shows got old after a while, but I loved every single one of them. I like MMX more than I like SMR and Marby the One. Maybe it's not as good as the Marble League, but otherwise though, it's like the second best thing that they've done recently. That's my opinion anyway. Thank you all so much for watching, and again, thank you for sending in your opinions. I really appreciate that. I got a lot more than I thought I would, so that's really cool. Anyway, that's all from me. I'll see you guys in another video. Bye!
If you don't subscribe to Jumping Jay of Doom, the Fire Nation will take over the world. Watch out!